And today we're going to talk about for and against essays. So for sure, for and against essays are formal piece of writing. For and against essay is a formal piece of writing in which a topic is considered from opposing point of views, like for and against. They are opposing, contradicting. So you should present both sides in a fair way. This is really important to discuss it from a fair way by discussing them objectively and in equal details. That's why I usually say, right, two paragraphs for and two paragraphs against, plus the introduction and the conclusion. So total is 6 paragraphs. And if you look at this part in the right side of the screen here, I'm going to highlight it to you. This part. This is your outline, actually. So you need a title, then an introduction. In your introductory paragraph, you state your topic. You summarize your topic without giving your opinion. So I don't need your opinion in a for and against essay, actually. In the introduction, I mean. Then in the main body paragraphs, paragraph 2, 3, or 4, or 5, like 2 paragraphs for with justifications and examples and reasons. 2 paragraphs against with justifications, examples, and reasons. Then a conclusion, and in the conclusion, you have 2 ways. You might make it balanced considerations, like still you're balanced, you're not expressing your opinion, or you're going to mention your opinion directly or indirectly, but you can mention your opinion. So it's up to you now to mention your opinion or not. It's up to you. Clear? So the only place that you can mention or state your opinion is your conclusion in the for and against essays. So in the introductory paragraph, he clearly states the topic to be discussed. So give some background information, state the topic, show the importance of the topic that you're discussing without giving your opinion. Then you need to give a thesis statement. A thesis statement is a summary of what you're going to say or to talk about in your essay. So this sentence, when I read it as a reader, I know what you're going to talk about. Then you move to the main body paragraphs. You need to start in which you point out for and against along with justification. You need to give justifications, examples. I'm going to tell you today how to do that, how to use, to express that actually. And reasons are presented in separate paragraphs, each point in a separate paragraph. Then a closing paragraph in which you state your opinion or give balanced considerations. You can only use these opinion words like I believe, I think, in my opinion, only be used in the closing paragraph, not in the main body paragraphs. There are some points to consider. So before you start your essay, you should make a list of points for and against. You make a list of points. This is how to start. Each paragraph should start with a topic sentence. The students don't know how to start the paragraph itself. It's okay, they finish the introduction, but they don't know how to start each paragraph in the main body paragraph. They know how to start the conclusion. They say in conclusion and they start summarizing and mentioning their opinion. And they know how to start the introduction. But the problem is they don't know how to start the main body paragraphs. And in the main body paragraphs, you need to start with a topic sentence. This is the secret word, topic sentence. A topic sentence, it summarizes what this paragraph about. So it summarizes the topic of the paragraph. So for example, if you read this sentence, you will understand what this paragraph will talk about. For example, in addition, many people feel reading is a relaxing and worthwhile activity. So here for sure, he's talking about what the advantages of reading. You're going to give examples, details, supporting details and examples, and so on. Don't use informal style, of course, like avoid using short forms, avoid using colloquial expressions or strong language expressions, expressing your opinion. Like, I strongly believe that. No, we do not use that in the for and against essays, actually. Try to use quotations to support your answer to your essay, no problem. Now, let me show you an example. We've wrote this before in the class, but it's a good example, actually. So we're going to read it. But try the most important thing, apart from reading, is to learn how to divide, to learn how it's, let's analyze it together. So this is the question itself. Censorship is necessary in modern society. Discuss. How do you know that this is a for and against? Because I say discuss. So if I say discuss, evaluate, assess, examine, all these are for and against essays. But when I say to what extent do you agree? Or what's your opinion? What do you believe? I say you. So when I say you, it's an opinion essay, but discuss is a for and against, and we've explained this many times before. It's okay. So discuss means I need a for and against essay. So 6 paragraphs, introduction. I do not mention my opinion in the introduction. I try to mention a thesis statement that shows that I have 2 opposing views, and I will explain them fairly without being with one of them. And in the conclusion, I will say my opinion. So this is the plan in my mind, you know. So I have a plan, and I have a clear question in front of me, and I can start. So censorship is necessary in modern society. Censorship is an issue which frequently generates great deal of heated debate. So he's introducing the topic here. And inside this, he put the thesis statement with supporters maintaining that it's vital. So he's mentioning here that we have supporters that find it vital in order to protect society, whilst opponents claim that it's an unjustifiable restriction of public access to information. So from this introduction, I know what I'm going to talk about. 2 different sides. Some people say or see that censorship is important. It's vital to protect the society. And some people say it's unjustifiable because it restricts the public access to information and the freedom of getting information. So this is what came to the mind of the writer. For you, it's up to you. You discuss any points related to censorship. And I gave you a technique before, and I will talk about it later also, which is the 5 lenses or the discussion clock, how to generate ideas for any topic. We're going to discuss it again later. So firstly, how to start your 2 paragraphs for. Firstly, all countries have secrets, which must be safeguarded for reasons of national security. For instance, look at the word for instance. And firstly, these linking words are really important. If an enemy country were to acquire such highly sensitive information, the effects could be catastrophic. Consequently, the government have to have the power to restrict access to information concerning areas such as the armed forces or particular aspects of foreign policy. So in this paragraph, you have a topic sentence, we have details, examples, and a concluding sentence. So it's a complete paragraph, and it discusses one point, which is the catastrophic effects of public access to military information, for example. So this is the point came to the writer, and he discussed it. For you, you might find another point and build a paragraph on it. Secondly, here it means that he's still adding another point for censorship or supporting censorship. Secondly, it's often argued that censorship is necessary to prevent the broadcast and publication of obscene material, which is considered offensive or harmful to public morals. So now he got the point of morality or the morals of the society, and he will talk about it. So many people feel that without censorship, public would be subjected to material that majority will find as offensive or obscene materials, and he will give a reason and example for that. Now, let's see how it's shifting from the 2 paragraphs 4 to the two paragraphs against. In contrast, opponents of censorship point out that when it's abused by governments, censorship becomes an instrument used to misinform society and maintain power. In order to, for example, here he's given details and then examples. In order to control the flow of information which reaches the public, repressive regimes try to put constraints on the media, thus denying citizens the right to inform information owing to the fact that governments believe it may lead them to seek greater freedom. So here he's discussing the point of freedom. Okay, another point he will discuss those who are against. So we don't care, it's not our opinion now. It's discussing both views. Furthermore, it's generally felt that mature adults are able to make informed choices about what they watch, read, and listen to, and should therefore be permitted to make their own decisions. He's talking now about adults and those people who can make their own decisions. He's replying to the point of this point, which is obscene material and offensive or harmful public for morons. He said those people can make their own decisions because they are adults. So, for example, some comedians make use of offensive language and taboo subjects in their performances. And critics of censorship argue that the only people who will watch or listen to such material are adults who have made a conscious decision to do so. Okay, so here he's replying to this point. Now, let's go to the last paragraph and see how it's built. Is it an opinion paragraph? You directly mentioned the opinion or still balanced? Let's see. All things considered, it can be concluded that a certain degree of censorship is always necessary. And the best course of action would be to attempt to achieve a balance between requirements of the country and the public on the one hand, and individuals' rights on the other hand. So here it's clear that he's balanced in his conclusion. So this is called balanced considerations. Now, let's move to the most important part of this class today, which is the new thing, because we've discussed this before, the example and the for and against. The new thing is the useful expressions that I will give you today. It will facilitate your life, actually. It will help you a lot to write easily in your essays. So there are some useful expressions and linking words and phrases that you might use when you write an for and against essay. So to list points, you can use these words like firstly, first of all, and in the first place, to begin with, secondly, thirdly, and finally. To list the advantages and disadvantages, you can say one advantage of censorship is, and you mentioned, or if you mention disadvantage, the same. So one advantage of this, one disadvantage of censorship is, and so on, or a further disadvantage or additional drawback of. Try to vary your words. To introduce points or arguments, you can say one point or one argument in favor of or in against is further common criticism. It could be argued that, and you continue. There are some useful expressions to add more points. So you can say, in addition to this, furthermore, moreover, besides, apart from, because some students only use furthermore, moreover, furthermore, moreover, all their exams like that, or their writing task. No, you can use different words to add information. In addition, furthermore, moreover, besides, apart from, what's more, as well as, not to mention the fact that, not only but also, but we make it as a question. Not only did I play football, but also I watch TV. So I make it question 4. There's another side to the issue, the question or the argument of, and you mentioned it. Okay, this is to add. What about to shift to the against or the contrasting point? How to make that shift or that transition? You can say, on the other hand, it may be said that or claim that, however, yet, still, but, nonetheless, nevertheless. Other or many people oppose this point of view or strongly disagree or claim that this argument is incorrect or misguided, and so on. So as I said, the materials in the book Virginia Evans, I uploaded it into, you will find it in Google Classroom already, last term. And we have also PowerPoint uploaded with for and against essays. So you will find the material easily, but I wish you read. By the way, these are your weapons. You cannot go to a battle without weapons. Your writing task is your battle, and without the useful expressions, the outline, the style of writing, your vocabulary. So what will you do there? For sure, you're gonna lose. So I'm giving you some weapons here. Try to use them. Useful expressions and linking words and phrases. To introduce examples, what to say. All the students just use for example and for an instance. For example and for an instance. That's it. They do not write anything in you. So you can say, for example, for an instance, such as, like, in particular, particularly, especially. This is clearly illustrated or shown by the fact that one or a clear striking example of this is the fact that, like, censorship shows or illustrates, and so on. To emphasize a point or to assure or to stress on something, you might say clearly, obviously, it's obvious, naturally, of course, needless to say, indeed.
Good
So all
afternoon,
these
Mr.
are.
Salam
Abdullah,
alaikum.
please write your message if you want to. Mute your mic and write your
Oh, my
message.
bad.
So to make particular correct statements to a certain extent, degree, to some degree, and so on. So these are some examples of how to. It's okay, Abdul. So now this is the last part of my lesson today, which is how to make the balanced conclusion or how to write the conclusion itself. As I said, you have two techniques in writing the conclusion. So you can make it balanced consideration or direct opinion. So let's start with the balanced consideration. You're still balanced. You don't want to mention your opinion directly or put yourself in this topic. So you can say, in conclusion, on balance, all things considered, taking everything into consideration, to conclude, to sum up, all in all, finally, all these are indicators or linking words for beginning your conclusion. Because if you do not start with these words, I will never know that this is the conclusion. So if you just start the conclusion with a normal topic sentence without a word of these, I will not know that this is the conclusion. So you're misleading your readers. So it's a weak task. So in conclusion or on balance or all things considered, it can be or it must be said that or claimed that it seems or it appears that it would seem that uh, there is no doubt that although it must be said that it may be concluded that, or you might say, all things considered, the obvious conclusion to be drawn is there is no absolute answer to the question. In the light of this evidence, it's clear or obvious to. So, in conclusion, or all in all, or to sum up, you can mention this. What about expressing your opinion directly? So, in conclusion, on balance, all things considered, the same like those, but here you must or you can say your opinion. It's my belief or opinion that I firmly believe or I think that I'm convinced that I'm inclined to believe that I do not agree that or with, for example. Taking everything into account, I therefore conclude or believe that and mention your opinion. For the above mentioned reasons, I firmly believe that, and you mention your opinion. So this is how to write your conclusion. Clear? So today we've talked about for and against essays from different angle. We gave the same example we got before, but we got more details and useful expressions that we can use. I want to add a point. There is another planning alternative paragraph plan. What's our plan that we're familiar with? And it's a strong one, by the way. 2 for, 2 against conclusion. There is another plan. Okay, what is the other plan? That each paragraph, you can write only 4 paragraphs, like 2 in the middle, but in each paragraph, it will have for and against both in the arguments in one paragraph. What do I mean? So when following this plan, you present both an argument in favor and the opposing viewpoint in the same paragraph. So one paragraph will include the point and the reply to that point. But here, you will be controlling yourself in what? If you follow our technique that we used to do, you might discuss 1 point for, 1 point against, and two, that point against might not be replying to the point for. Okay, but here you're forced to reply to this point. So here, if he's talking about freedom and there he's not talking, you have to reply to this. You're stuck to it. But you might find any other positive point related to morality, related to business, economy, whatever. So it's up to you. You're free. But here, it's a higher level one, but some people know how to do it. So for you, it's up to you. You follow this technique. You make long paragraph with for and against in one paragraph, and then for and against in another paragraph, and you make them 4 paragraphs, all introduction, 2 paragraphs, and the conclusion, and each paragraph has its for and against in one. Or follow our previous plan, which is 6 paragraphs, introduction, 2 for, 2 against, and a conclusion. Am I clear so far?
Yeah.
Could you please write in the chat box if you're following with me? Just write yes. Okay, good. Thank you, everyone, for following. So that's all that I want to say for today. Let me take again the attendance. Second. Okay.